What if I told you that the most common way to live today is not to live at all? It is to accept a quiet, comfortable defeat. This isn't a dramatic surrender, not a single, epic moment of failure. It's an insidious capitulation. A slow-motion collapse, negotiated through 1,000 tiny concessions. We choose what is easy over what is right. We opt for distraction over depth. We flee from anything that feels remotely difficult, and in our desperate flight from discomfort, we lose ourselves. This isn't happening because you lack talent, opportunity, or intelligence. You are losing because you failed to cultivate the one thing every truly great life is built upon: unbreakable mental strength. We live in a world intentionally engineered for weakness. An economy built on selling us escape. We spend our lives scrolling through curated highlight reels, comparing our raw, behind-the-scenes reality to everyone else's carefully constructed premiere. We become envious of shadows, and then we wonder why we feel so hollow. So stuck. We chase comfort with a desperate hunger, yet we wake up exhausted. We avoid pain at all costs, yet we suffer from a low-grade anxiety that never, ever leaves. Here is the brutal truth we've been running from: our pursuit of comfort is slowly, softly, and absolutely surely killing us. While struggle, though harsh and painful, holds within it the seed of real power, genuine resilience, and a life of profound meaning. But this isn't a new discovery. This is ancient wisdom. Long before the dopamine hits of notifications and the tyranny of social feeds, the Stoics of ancient Rome had already mapped the path to an unshakable life. Marcus Aurelius, a man who held more power than almost any human in history, a man who faced pandemics, wars, and betrayal, wrote these words in his private journal: "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's not a quote to be printed on a motivational poster. That is a weapon. A mindset. An operating system for navigating chaos and remaining utterly unshaken. Stoicism doesn't promise to make life easy. It promises to make you unstoppable. In this journey, we are diving deep into 8 foundational Stoic laws. This isn't just inspirational fluff, it's a battle plan for real change. Each law is drawn from the raw, battle-tested truths of Stoic philosophy, forged in the fires of ancient Rome and more relevant today than ever before. If you are serious about your own growth, do not just sit back and watch this like another piece of content. This is not background noise. This is a wake-up call. Engage with it. Hit the like button now. Drop a comment as we go, especially when a point hits home. Share it with one person you know who desperately needs to hear this. And most importantly, do not skip a single part. Because missing one of these laws could cost you the clarity or courage you need at the most critical moment of your life. Let's begin. Law 1: Embrace discomfort as your master trainer. We are biologically hardwired to flee from pain. Our entire modern world is built to help us do just that. But the Stoics taught a radical, counterintuitive opposite: to move toward discomfort. To lean into it with eyes wide open, seeing it not as a punishment, but as the most powerful teacher you will ever have. Ask yourself honestly, when did you experience your greatest moment of growth? Was it when you were comfortable, relaxed, and everything was easy? Or was it when life punched you in the gut, when you faced a loss, a failure, or a fear and had to make the choice, to rise or to remain broken? Marcus Aurelius faced relentless hardships, yet he led an empire with profound calm. He didn't avoid discomfort, he invited it. He understood its transformative power. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Let's break that down. This isn't just a clever phrase. It's a fundamental law of reality. It means that every single obstacle you face is not a stop sign, it's a training ground. Every delay is a test of your patience. Every rejection is a lesson in resilience. Every failure is simply data for your comeback. Modern life screams, avoid pain. Seek pleasure. Stoicism whispers back, train for it. That cold shower you avoid. That's a test. That difficult conversation you're dodging. That's the path to a stronger relationship. That workout you skip. That's where your character is being carved, in real time. The Stoics, like Seneca, practiced voluntary hardship. He would sleep on the floor, eat plain food, and wear simple clothes. Not out of masochism, but as a form of self-vaccination. Why? So that if life ever stripped away his comfort, through loss, poverty, or hardship, he would not be shattered. He would be ready. He had already proven to himself that he could endure it. Discomfort is not your enemy, it is a mirror. It shows you who you truly are beneath the layers of comfort. More importantly, it shows you who you are capable of becoming. We avoid small pains daily, only to set ourselves up for catastrophic suffering later. But when you lean in, when you walk through that fire with awareness, a profound shift occurs, you stop fearing the pain. And that is the very beginning of freedom. Your task, from this day forward, see discomfort as a sparring partner. It might bruise you, but it's building you. Choose one small voluntary hardship today and do it without debate. A cold shower. A hard conversation. An hour of focused work without distraction. Sitting in silence without your phone. Remind yourself, this is how warriors are forged. The only way to become unstoppable is to stop running. I want you to claim this. Drop this affirmation in the comments, discomfort is my training ground. Law 2, you are not your emotions, you are the commander. How many of your days are hijacked by your emotions? Someone is rude, and you snap. Plans change, and your entire mood shifts. You feel a wave of laziness, so you cancel your commitments. You feel anxious, so you seek distraction. The brutal truth is this: if you are ruled by your emotions, you are a slave to them. And the Stoics believe that this internal slavery is far worse than any external chain. Epictetus, born a slave and who became a legendary teacher, laid it bare: any person capable of angering you becomes your master. They can anger you only when you permit yourself to be disturbed. Let that sink in. The person who cut you off in traffic. You just handed them the keys to your inner peace. That painful breakup. You handed it your entire identity. That one rude comment online. You gifted it your joy for the day. Stoicism does not demand you become a robot, devoid of feeling. It teaches you to become an observer. To create a space, a sacred pause, between the stimulus, what happens, and your response. To understand the emotion, and then to choose your response, rather than being hijacked by a reaction. The difference between a child and a Stoic is not that one feels and the other doesn't. It's that the child throws a tantrum, while the Stoic sits in the eye of the emotional storm and thinks. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. This is the ultimate form of control. The power to not be shaken by what does not deserve your energy. It is brutal because it removes the easy excuse. You can no longer say, he made me mad, or she ruined my day. You must confront the truth: your reaction was your choice. But here is the empowering part: if it is your choice, you can choose differently. You can feel the surge of anger without acting on it. You can feel the clutch of fear and still move forward. You can feel the weight of sadness without drowning in it. This is emotional sovereignty. This is Stoic freedom. Your practice: next time you are triggered, pause. Do not act. Breathe. Ask yourself, is this emotion useful? Is it serving my goals? Then, respond with intention, not impulse. When you stop being owned by your emotions, you become clear, calm, and powerful. You show up steady, and in today's chaotic world, that stability is rare, magnetic, and utterly unstoppable. Law 3, abandon the fairy tale of fairness. One of the fastest routes to misery is to expect life to be fair. You work hard, but the lazy get promoted. You love deeply, but you are left. You play by the rules, but cheaters prosper. And the cry rises in your throat, it's not fair. Here is the Stoic truth: fairness is a beautiful human idea, not a law of the universe. The universe is neutral. It does not keep score. Marcus Aurelius saw immense injustice from his throne. Yet, he did not whine or spiral into despair. He grounded himself in a stronger idea: life is not about fairness, it is about strength. The Stoics never expected the world to treat them kindly. They expected challenges, pain, loss, and betrayal. And because they expected it, they were prepared for it. They were never caught off guard. Let's be brutally honest. Clinging to the idea of fairness makes you weak. When we cry, unfair, what we are often really saying is, I don't like this reality, and I don't want to deal with it. But here is the law: you do not grow by demanding fairness. You grow by confronting reality and moving forward anyway. Look at nature. Do the storms only hit the wicked? Do the diligent ants never get stepped on? Of course not. Bad things happen to good people. Effort does not always equal reward. That is not negativity, that is simply life. What separates the average from the unstoppable is this: the average person waits for the world to become fair. The Stoic builds a fortress of inner strength so formidable that no external injustice can break them. This does not make you cold or complacent. It means you stop waiting for the world to change and start changing yourself. You stop complaining and start using the pain as fuel. You build skills so undeniable they cannot be ignored. You love without expectation of return. You face betrayal and choose to walk forward with dignity. Seneca, who faced exile and ultimate tragedy, said, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage. Especially when life feels unjust." The Stoic approach is one of radical responsibility. Not because everything is your fault, but because your response is always your responsibility. You don't get to control how life hits you, but you always get to control how you stand back up. And that response, that grounded, calm, principled response, is what makes you unstoppable. Fairness is not promised. But freedom is earned. One powerful, responsible choice at a time. Law 4, the circle of control, your empire of action. Your anxiety, your frustration, your sense of powerlessness, much of it stems from one critical error: spending your precious energy on things you cannot control. The Stoics divided the world into two simple categories. What is within your control: your opinions, your judgments, your desires, your actions, your character. What is not within your control: your body, your property, your reputation, your past, the future, other people's actions. Epictetus put it with stunning clarity: make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. Most of us live our lives backwards. We try to control other people's opinions. We obsess over market fluctuations. We rage against traffic and weather. We try to force outcomes. And then we wonder why we feel so anxious, drained, and powerless. The shift is everything. Imagine you are the captain of a ship. You cannot control the sea, the external world. You can, however, control the wheel, the sails, and your navigation skills, your mind and actions. The Stoic captain doesn't waste energy screaming at the storm, he focuses entirely on steering the ship. This focus is what gives you unshakable calm in a crisis. You become focused where others are scattered, disciplined where others are distracted. Your practice: the next time you feel stress or anxiety, pause and ask this Stoic question: is this within my control? If yes, then act. Direct your energy there. If no, then accept it. Let it go. Release the mental burden. It is simple, but it is not easy. It is a discipline. It requires constant vigilance to pull your attention back from the chaos of the outside world and anchor it in your own sphere of action, your empire of action. When you live within your circle of control, people notice. You become a pillar of stability. Not because you control everything, but because you control yourself no matter what is happening around you. That is true power. Law 5, Voluntary Hardship, Forging an Unbreakable Will. In a world that worships comfort, the deliberate embrace of difficulty becomes a revolutionary act. The Stoics did not wait for tragedy to strike to test their mettle. They trained for it proactively. This is voluntary hardship. Not to suffer needlessly, but to inoculate yourself against future suffering. Not to punish, but to prepare. Seneca practiced poverty. He would live on simple food, wear rough clothing, and sleep on a hard bed. He would then ask himself, is this the condition I feared? By facing his fears voluntarily, he robbed them of their power. Think of it like a mental vaccine. You inject a small, controlled dose of the virus, discomfort, to build immunity against a full-blown disease, catastrophe. Most people today design their lives to avoid even the slightest inconvenience. They never feel hungry, cold, or bored. But what happens when inevitable hardship comes? They have no resilience. They shatter. The Stoic, however, has already been in the trenches. They've practiced withstanding fatigue, hunger, rejection, and solitude. This doesn't make them invincible, it makes them adaptable. You don't build willpower by watching a motivational video. You build it by doing the thing you don't want to do, on purpose. What does this look like today? Fasting for a meal to master your urges. Taking a cold shower to practice overriding your comfort impulse. Deleting social media apps for a week to confront boredom. Walking instead of driving to feel the elements. Waking up an hour earlier to read or train, when your body screams to stay in bed. These small acts stack. Over time, you forge a will that does not bend under pressure. When real hardship comes, a job loss, an illness, a failure, you don't collapse. You meet it with a grim smile, because you have already walked through this fire by choice. You are ready. Practice being hungry. Practice being alone. Practice being uncomfortable. So that when life demands more of you than you think you can handle, you will not just handle it, you will rise. Law 6, Love the process, detach from the outcome. We are conditioned to worship results. The promotion. The victory. The number on the scale. The likes. But this fixation is a fragile way to live, because outcomes are fickle and often outside your control. Stoicism offers a liberating alternative. Detach from the outcome and fall in love with the process itself. Why? Because the result is never guaranteed. But your effort, your integrity, your focus, your process, is always within your control. Epictetus taught, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. When you tie your self-worth to an outcome, you set yourself up for despair. The startup that fails feels like a personal indictment. The rejection feels like proof of your inadequacy. You become desperate, anxious, and brittle. But when you fall in love with the work, the daily practice of showing up, writing, building, learning, and striving, you always win. Even if the external result is a failure, you have already won because you honed your skills, strengthened your discipline, and acted with virtue. And here is the beautiful paradox: when you release your desperate grip on the outcome, you often perform better. You are less desperate, less emotional, and more clear-headed. This state of focused flow is where mastery and success actually live. Marcus Aurelius advised, never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Stop obsessing over what might happen. Pour yourself into your craft, right now, in this moment. If you are a writer, write to express truth, not to go viral. If you are an athlete, train to master your body, not just to win a trophy. If you are building a business, build to solve a problem, not just for a payout. The moment you tie your worth to your discipline, you become unstoppable. Show up as if the result is already done, and you are simply there for the joy of the craft itself. Law 7, Memento mori, let death be your most powerful advisor. Most people live as if they are immortal. They procrastinate, waste time, tolerate mediocrity, and delay their dreams, whispering, "I'll get to it someday." The Stoics practiced memento mori, the remembrance of death. Not to be morbid or fearful, but to be utterly, vibrantly alive. To inject a fierce urgency into the present moment. Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." That is not a threat. It is the ultimate liberation. The realization that life is a fragile, finite gift and that tomorrow is promised to no one. Every moment wasted is a moment you will never get back. Seneca argued brilliantly, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. When you truly internalize your mortality, your priorities snap into razor-sharp focus. You stop scrolling mindlessly. You stop arguing over trivialities. You stop people-pleasing and start truth-telling. You start that project. You have that conversation. You forgive that person. You take that risk. Now. Not later. The person who remembers death does not live in fear of it. They live in reverence for life. They are the ones who speak with honesty, love without reservation, and work with profound purpose. They stop fearing failure because the only true failure is a life lived without courage and intention. This awareness makes you magnetic, focused, and powerful. You move through the world with a purpose that others can feel. Live like you are on borrowed time, because you are. And let that truth propel you into a life of action. Law 8, virtue is the only true good, seek approval from your soul. In a world obsessed with likes, followers, and status, the Stoic stands apart. Their goal is not external validation, but internal integrity. Their compass is virtue, wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, reminded himself, just that you do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. Live with honor, even if no one is watching. Speak the truth, even if no one applauds. Keep your word, even when it costs you. Train hard, even when nobody is there to see it. This is not about being perfect. It is about being principled. And it is brutally difficult because doing the right thing is often the hard thing. It is easier to lie. It is easier to cheat. It is easier to chase applause than to stand alone in your convictions. But every time you choose what is right over what is easy, you forge a stronger identity. You build a soul that cannot be bought or broken by external opinion. Seneca lived by this code, I will govern my life and my thoughts as if the whole world were to see the one and read the other. That is the foundation of an unshakable life. A life built on virtue does not crumble under pressure because its core is integrity, not image. In a world of performance, the Stoic is genuine. In a world of noise, the Stoic is still. You want to be unstoppable. Stop living for the crowd's praise. Start living by your own code. Live in such a way that even if you lost your status, your money, and your followers, you would still be able to look yourself in the mirror and feel pride. Be a warrior for what is right, not what is popular. And even if you have to walk alone, walk like it's the only path that matters. The path forward. If you have made it this far, it means something deep within you is ready. Ready to evolve. To leave behind the distraction, the weakness, the emotional chaos, and to step into your power. Not power over others, but mastery over yourself. That is the Stoic path. It does not offer you comfort. It offers you something far greater, clarity, direction, and a life of profound meaning, even when the world around you is crumbling. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, they did not write for a peaceful world. They wrote to survive storms, battles, and betrayals with dignity. They taught us that true strength is not in muscles or money. It is in the man who keeps his word. The woman who faces fear without flinching. The soul that does the right thing, especially when it is the hard thing. You do not need to wait for the perfect moment. You do not need more motivation. You just need to begin. Right now. Train your mind. Expect struggle. Detach from outcomes. Hold your principles. Live like your time is running out. Because it is. And the most beautiful part? You don't need anyone's applause. You don't need their praise. You don't need them to understand you. Because when you walk the Stoic path, you become unshakable from within. And that kind of strength? It's rare. It's real. And it is yours for the taking. I want you to claim it. Drop this final affirmation in the comments: I am becoming unshakable, day by day. Now, if this message resonated with you, if you felt that spark of truth, do not keep it to yourself. Like this video. Comment with the law that hit you hardest. Share it with one person who needs to hear it. And subscribe to this channel. We are building a community of thinkers, warriors, and real people who want more than noise, who want to live with purpose. Remember, do not skip any part of your life. It's all training. It's all transformation. Keep showing up. Keep choosing strength. And don't stop until you become unstoppable.